How we doing, guys? Jay here from Just Technics. I hope you're all keeping well. So it pains me to say it, but this year has pretty much flown by and we're already in November. Christmas is literally around the corner. Doesn't even feel like, you know, I've even had a chance to get up to date with anything this year. But yeah, it's around the corner. Christmas is pretty much here. I'm already being bugged by Kimberly, my other half, on doing the Christmas tree decorations. I think it's way too early to be doing any of that. But that means there's one positive out of this. It's time for the Just Technics Mixmas Raffle. I do one every year. And they've all been really, really positive so far. You can basically win a turntable for peanuts. This is for £2 a ticket. And this year I thought I'd do something a little bit different. So enter the Reloop RP-7, turntable dedicated for 7-inch records. Nifty little thing. It's tiny, look at it, look. Weighs next to nothing. 2 of these in a flight case with a little mixer will sort you out for mobile gigs. Those of you that only play 7-inch records or, you know, haven't got a lot of space at home, this is pretty ideal. We'll go over that in a second. But yeah, this is the situation. The raffle is live now. The link is in the description for this video, if you're watching on YouTube. Tickets are £2 each, and you can win basically a brand new RP-7. So I bought this brand new not long ago at all, brand new boxed. And the idea for this was going to be, get it, quickly power it on, show everybody it's spinning around for the Facebook video, take the back off, have a quick look and see what we've got inside, stop the video, and then the next step was going to be rip the turntable apart, basically, and modify and see what we can do. Well, I kind of have gone to some extent with this. So what ended up happening was I did strip this turntable down into 1,000,000 pieces, all carefully. That's why it still looks like new. And I measured the diameter for the top of the plinth, so I can obviously cut a custom wrap for the top and the sides. They'll be coming very, very soon if you do have a pair of RP-7s. Yeah, did that. The pitch trim's been changed. We'll go over that in a second as well. But as far as everything else is concerned, I took one look and thought, plastic? No. No. Motors from like an RP-2000, a lower end series of the Reloop. So I think for what you actually pay for this, yes, the idea is great and it's a little turntable, and I think praises to Reloop for what they've done for this. But when you compare this to the turntable this motor's actually from, you're not paying as much for that turntable as what you're paying for this. And I think that's not good. So let's go over a few bits that I have changed straight out the bat. And as you can see here, the pitch trim is a completely different colour because they're usually black. This pitch trim's gold. Now, I usually do not like gold. I think gold's quite tacky on most turntables unless you've got the DMC Technics. But even the limiteds I tend to find, like from Technics, I think they tend to be a bit hit and miss, depending on the condition. But this looks quite nice. The reason for the changeover for the trim, it wasn't sitting properly. So the original trim, when this was installed in factory, wasn't sitting flush on the inner section here. So you see how the line goes across for the inner section where you move the slider up and down? This wasn't sitting flush here. It was sitting at an angle. The area here, the numbered section of the trim, was actually up at an angle, going upwards like that. So it wasn't sitting flush, and you could literally get your finger and push it down. The LED wasn't sitting flush within the trim either. It's sitting underneath and at an angle, and I thought, you're spending premium money and that's how they throw it at you? That's got to go. So I changed it over. The next thing I've done, which still baffles me to this day, how some of these brands do not include this as standard, is installed a felt cloth underneath the pitch knob. So a pitch felt, little rectangular piece of felt that sits underneath the pitch knob. If any of you out there, obviously Mark 7 uses, I've said this to you over the years before, but they also don't come with pitch trim felts either. If you've got a pair of these, a single, or if you've got a set of Super OEM turntables, lift the pitch knob off and see if you have a felt underneath the pitch knob. If you don't, please install one. One, it will save this entire area from being scratched and damaged, which saves you from having to replace a trim. And two, it just improves the feel, the premium quality of your fader. You can see here, it's a lot firmer. It feels nicer to use. So please, guys, if you do have a set of Super OEM decks, a pair of RP-7s, an individual, anything, take that off and have a check. Technics you haven't got to worry about unless you've had them for donkey's years and never had them serviced. But either way, that's a very, very good upgrade to do at your own pair at home. Cost you a couple of quid. You could buy aftermarket ones for peanuts. You could buy genuine ones as well if you're lucky. But please go out and do that. It makes it just game changer in terms of feel. So the trim and the shading felt, obviously the shading cloth I've removed and changed. Everything else is standard. Everything's all put back together exactly as expected. It's in mint condition. We've got removable target light, as you can see, with a nice white LED in there. Nice white LED. 45 adapter, all the accessories are still there, the original power cable, etc. The box, everything's here, ready to go. So here's the score with this turntable. Tickets are £2 each. The raffle ends on Christmas Eve. So we've got plenty of time now to push this raffle and get this out to as many people as possible. I want everyone to get an opportunity to grab this deck for as little money as possible. I think it's great. I mean, the last raffles I've had, one of them was a previous customer who won a turntable from me. I had another customer who, she's like an air hostess. She won an M5G in Lamborghini green off of me. And she was asking me questions the weekend before she won the raffle about a pair of Reloop RP-7 Mark IIs. She went out and bought them and then won the raffle. I had to then get it delivered to an airport for her. And she then went out, she sold her Reloops and then went out and bought another Technics to go alongside the M5G that she won. So this is good. You know, she paid £1 for that. So this is £2 a ticket. And yeah, you get yourself basically a brand new RP-7. Didn't buy it that long ago. All the accessories are there. Everything's in mint condition. UK delivery is included using APC courier. It'll be extremely well packed, as well as the box, so you're not going to see what's inside the packaging. Includes the original slip mat. And yeah, it's not much really to show you with it, to be honest. But yeah, the link is in the description for this video. So if you do fancy getting in it to win it, here is your chance, guys. We've got lots of time to get on this now. And one of you lucky guys, if you do enter, will be in for the winning of grabbing this turntable. So £2 a ticket, ends on Christmas Eve. Winner will be announced directly by email. And yeah, that's basically it. So just to run you over this again. Reloop RP-7, removable target light, 33, 45 and 78 speeds for the actual speed of the deck. Button layout is pretty much the same as you find on any other Super OEM deck, including recessed on-off switch, so you're not going to accidentally knock the switch on and off to the motor when you're mixing. 45 adapter, that's the genuine one that comes with the unit. Your bog standard, basically Super OEM tone arm assembly with the Reloop base. Found on a lot of turntables. Black weight at the back, looks really tasty. Slightly shorter straight tone arm, as you'd expect from being a 7-inch turntable. No anti-skate. I get this quite a lot with people saying about anti-skate. There is no anti-skate on a straight tone arm turntable the majority of the time. So this, for an example, has the cap for it. There's no internals for it. I've checked it. And the knob doesn't even move. There is no anti-skate on a straight tone arm turntable. You do not need it. Speeds for the pitch, plus or minus 8, 16 and 35%. As it's obviously accessed by that button there. Reset switch to reset the 0 position. As you can see on here, there is no click at the 0 position. I personally prefer that. Not that it really makes any difference though with a digitally controlled pitch, but there we go. But yeah, very plasticky unit, to be honest, but it weighs next to nothing. And where I was getting at with this right at the very beginning, it's been it's a bit of a love-hate relationship, this turntable, this particular one. Everyone's aware of the SL700 miniature Technics that's been floating around online with a lot of, a lot of people saying they know where it comes from. You know, I would know who made it. Technics made it. No, they didn't. It was custom. Now, I can all categorically tell you right now, without any ball, hand on heart, I know that turntable was not made by Technics Panasonic. It wasn't. I know who made the turntable. I'm not going to say anything because I've basically sworn that I would not say anything. And I'm telling you now, it's not made by Panasonic and it's not made by Technics. Same company. They didn't touch it. Okay. But a lot of people were at one point wanting miniature Technics made. And the minute this came out, because I used to get quite a lot of emails from people, can you remanufacture it, Jay? Can you make a smaller version for me? If I make a smaller platter, can you do it? Can you make me a smaller platter? Blah, 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 blah. I've always said no, I'm sorry. A couple of good friends have asked me and I've said, if you help us out with some of the materials and things, then I'll help you. Nothing really ever come to fruition, but it is what it is. But in the end, a company brings out a 7-inch dedicated turntable purely for playing your 7-inch records. And instead of praising the turntable that everybody's been wanting, craving supposedly for quite a while, you all slate it. I don't get it. It was one of the biggest talked about products on my business page for quite a while. And there was a very love-hate. A lot of people on there saying about, obviously, it's a great idea for those that only play 7-inch turntables, the funk soul boys that love all that sort of thing, the reggae DJs, people that only play 7-inch records. And I get it. This is great for you. It's lighter, it's smaller. Put this deck in battle style and you put a 1200, 1210 in club style next to it. Is pretty much the same size from top to bottom when it's in battle style. I think these are great for that. They're just a nice, to me, they're very gimmicky, but they are very cool. They're nice little bits of kit, really. If you've got a small space to put a set of decks in on a 2-channel mixer, you're laughing. But yeah, the guys that only use 7-inch records, this is exactly what you're asking for. It answers all of your prayers. It's something that plays 7-inch records, and that is it. If you get yourself some time code vinyl or phase, then you've got the possibilities are even bigger for this. You can even remove the arm and do all different crazy things with this. I've looked into it. But yeah, the other side of the coin, the flip of the coin, was those that were going, what is the point of buying these when you can run 7-inch records on your current turntable? So most of my customers, as you can imagine, they all own 1200s and 1210s. And yet you've got a very valid point. Of course you do. But what if you're gigging every weekend and you're only playing 7-inch records? And I do know DJs that only play 7-inch records. 1210s, 1200s, they're not exactly light, guys. You've got to remember this. They're not exactly light. You know, those you'd actually own them and have them in flight cases will know this. So you imagine every weekend you're carting around 2 Technics, including your mixer, and God forbid you got a coffin case with your mixer built in. I mean, you break your back every weekend. This is going to be a lot easier for anybody out there that wants something smaller. If you refuse to use controllers and you want that vinyl feel, but you want to use everything digital, then buy phase or DVS 2-channel scratch mixer in a small little flight case, and you've got that vinyl feel. I prefer to do that. If I went to a gig, and like I used to do back in the day, play bars and that sort of stuff, if there's not enough room for a set of 1210s and a mixer, but I knew this would fit, but back in the day, you know, the only option you really had was CDJs, or controllers weren't even a thing when I used to do it. But now, if I walked into a club, or so I walked into a booth and there was no room, but I wanted to play vinyl or play on turntables using things digital, this is exactly what I'd use, purely for the fact of there's nothing else on the market that can do this. So 2 of these, 2-channel scratch mixer, brilliant. I'll be well happy with that. If you play 7-inch records, this is all you play, this is for you. Massive market aimed at people that only play 7-inch records, brilliant. If you're on the fence because you got Technics, you don't play out, you don't do anything, and you only play 7-inch records at home, you're going to argue the toss about why you wouldn't buy them. Totally get it, because you don't use them out, you don't play them out. You might sample them here and there, or have a few scratch records that are smaller. But at the end of the day, guys, these I think are more aimed at those that physically play out, you know, 7-inch records, you know, on a weekly basis, monthly, or whatever it's going to be. Those that actually only use purely 7-inch records. So it makes perfect sense. That's why they've done it. And there's a big market for that. So before everyone slates these down to the ground and says, what a waste of money, why do it? Yes, look, the difference between buying one of these and buying an RP-7 Mark II, for an example, isn't a lot. And you are getting a much better premium quality turntable. I'm not going to lie about that, because we all know that's very, very true. The motor on this, I mean, it looks like it's been taken out of an RP-2000. So when you put that into perspective, you're paying more money for this turntable than an RP-2000. And in my opinion, build quality is pretty much the same, but it just made it smaller. You're paying for the fact of what it is. It's a 7-inch deck. That's why you're paying the premium, in my honest opinion, with this. But if you're not using them only at home and you're going to be using them at gigs, that's the whole reason of buying them, and you only play 7-inch records, that's why you're buying them. That is the end of it. I'm sick of hearing all these negative things about them, and some of these guys on my page have been getting into some serious proper debates with this, and I just never understand the big deal. End of the day, it's a turntable. You use what you want to use. You use the tools that you have in front of you. You use what the means that you have and what you can afford. If you can spend the money and you want something that does this, this is what you buy. It looks cool. It's going to be nice to use them in a club if you've got a tiny little booth, you know, or even if you just want to play 7-inch records, that's it. And you don't want to cart around 12 to 15 kilos per turntable. This is for you. Like I said, they weigh nowhere near the amount of a Technics turntable, and that is one of the biggest benefits of this, as far as I'm concerned. They're a lot lighter, easy to carry around, look great in a flight case, battle style or club, done. And this one could be yours, guys, for £2 if you're lucky enough to win it. So I'm going to end it there because I'm starting to waffle now and I've got plenty of work to do. But either way, the description is in the link is in the description for the raffle entry. So please take a look at that. Obviously, if you could share it around, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, hopefully, if you do enter, you win this turntable. And I really look forward to sending it out to the winner. So like I say, winner will be announced on Christmas Eve. And best of luck to everybody. Thank you ever so much for watching. I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Cheers.